How's it going, YouTube? It's Brian Schrader, coming back at you for the first time this season. Last video I did was a long time ago, and I apologize for the people that were interested in flocking and wanted to see some more videos. I've had some requests for geese. I'm going to do kind of a variant to the goose, Canadian goose flocking. I'm going to be doing Brant. You can apply a lot of what I'm doing to doing Canada geese. But for this particular video, since Brant season's coming up out here in Washington real soon, I wanted to get some decoys flocked, and I figured I'd make a video for you guys to show you kind of what I'm doing. But I appreciate all the views and subscribers that I have come to this channel. It's not really my intent to be YouTube famous or anything. I was just wanted to make some informal videos and show you guys kind of share my passion with you guys on how to flock decoys. So for this particular video, the supplies you will need, it's going to be Rust-Oleum, oil-based flat black. You're going to need gloves. You will also need your 1-inch disposable chip brush. You can use 2-inch. Also, I prefer to use 1-inch, just for you can kind of put in tighter details with just a 1-inch brush instead too. But anyway, then you will also need your flocking applicator, which is essentially a ketchup bottle. What I use. Out there you can buy air applicators. I haven't tried one. Maybe someday I'll buy one, but anyway, and then I also am using a tan or a darker cream colored flocking. And the reason I'm using the cream flocking with black paint is it makes a really unique color gray, like tannish gray. It's kind of hard to describe, but it'll make more sense later on in the videos why we're doing it like this as opposed to just flocking in black or gray itself. But anyway, so the decoys I'm using are just some leftover old goose decoys you get at like garage sales. This particular one's like is a flambeau, probably long retired, probably hasn't been hunted over in a long time. But Brant you usually don't need too nice of decoys. They at least up here in Washington, they're not hunted very often. The seasons are usually less than a week long. Some of them are only 3 days, so in certain areas. So a lot of guys will hunt with even just floater goose decoys of any type, and they seem to be successful at it. It's not necessary to flock them by any means. I just think they look cool, and it's really nice to hunt over your own decoys. But and later on, when the Brants get hunted a little bit more, they do get smarter. And a little more decoy shy, so a little realism isn't going to hurt anything by any means. All right, so to get started, it's pretty basic. All you're going to be doing is slapping a bunch of paint on the decoy. So what I do is I'll turn it upside down. Let me adjust my camera here. I'll tip the decoy upside down like this and just start slapping in paint. And you want to, I usually put a thick coat on, and the reason I hold it facing down is with these goose decoys, at least this particular one, they got a lot of ridges in them, so you want to get that paint all the way into the back of them. You just paint it all the way forward like this. So if you guys can see, just like that. Yeah, don't be bashful on the paint. On some of my other videos, if you guys haven't seen them, I talk about how much paint to use, but this is basically what you're going to want to do is put enough paint on there that it's not running, but just about at the point of being able to run. The more paint you put on there, the more flocking it's going to hold, more durable it'll be. And you're going to do 2 coats of flocking. But the first coat, I'm just going to put one solid color on there. You don't have to. You can do 1 color at a time or 2 colors at a time if you choose to. The main colors you're going to be on this are going to be this gray flocking, black flocking, and white flocking. And then you'll spray paint in some details. So bear with me while I get this painted up. So just to kill some time while I'm doing this, I'll talk a little bit about Brant. Brant are a smaller type of goose that they feed on eelgrass mainly, at least out here they do in Washington. Their numbers aren't very good out here on the West Coast, so like I said, the seasons are really limited. You can shoot out here 2 a day. The other nice thing though is they're usually around other sea ducks, so you can once you get your Brant, you can go out and go after scoters or golden eyes or whatever is in your area. I know some of you East Coast guys got a little more liberal limits. I'm not exactly sure what they are, but yeah, we usually have late January seasons. Like I said, they're either some are in some places they're a week. I think this year there's one place that has 3 days that you can hunt Brant total. One place you got off and on for 2 weeks or so. It's a lot of fun hunting Brant. It's just a unique experience. Hunt a goose out of a layout boat. So yeah, like I said, just get it on as best you can. Yeah, a technique I recently started doing with my flocking is making the base coat of the flocking 1 color, and then adding my secondary colors over the top of that base color, and that just saves on time. You're not doing the head and tail black and then going back and doing the sides white and the top gray. It just kind of helps to save a little bit of time by getting one coat on there, and then the next coats can be the specific color flocking, or you can just paint over the top of your base flocking. A lot of guys that do this and actually sell decoys, that's what they tend to do. They'll flock it 1 color and then come back over the top of that with airbrush paint or paint brushes. I know there's quite a few popular decoy flockers out there. I was partially, my inspiration too was I was seeing how much these guys were charging for flock decoys, and I was like, wow, yeah, I can do that. I mean, it's a lot of fun, but it is time consuming. So the only places I really tend to be careful is around the beak and the eyes, because I don't want to get flocking on them. You can and just scrape it off later if you want to, but better to, there's enough work in this, you don't need to make extra for yourself. So yeah, take your time over the top, your head, got the eyes. Do a quick once over, make sure you get all your spots. Just a couple spots. So yeah, that's pretty much your base coat right there. Now time to apply the flocking. So again, with your goose face down, see if I can move this so you guys can see a little bit better. Usually it's a lot easier with ducks because there's a little more room to maneuver. But so goose pointed down, and you're going to want to just squeeze your flocking over the top of it. And again, the reason you want it pointed down is so you get this flocking into the back parts of the details on the goose itself. So underneath me, I don't think I talked about it, there's a little catch bin that catches all the extra flocking. I usually just use a Tupperware bin. Bigger the better, whatever your room can allot for bin size. This particular one I usually use for ducks. I don't normally do geese, mainly for reasons it takes up a lot of space and a lot of time. So once you get the back covered up, you can flip it over and do the front at the top. And don't worry about how much flocking you apply. You can't have too much. The paint only can hold so much flocking, so don't be bashful. Bear with me, guys. I know this is kind of a long video. Me not doing a lot, but so then after you get it all covered, I'll take it, point it tail down and just hit it a few times. Get all that extra flocking off of there. And take a look. If you see any light spots, hit it again with some flocking. Looks like we got a little bit of right there. Right there. But yeah, that's basically it for the first part of this goose flocking. Brant flocking, I should say, sorry. So yeah, step one, or part one's complete, your base flocking. Alright. So thanks for tuning in, guys. I will post up part two. Part two will go over the second step in the flocking process. We'll flock other colors on top of the gray base color, and then I'll go over painting, and then finish it out with airbrushing. So anyway, thanks for tuning in, guys. I'll see you in the next episode.